What is up, party people? Hope you guys are doing good. Welcome to the next installment of Inner Conquest, the best modern metaphysics channel on YouTube that there's ever been and ever will be. So it's always the same shit, right? The whole process of understanding metaphysics, meta basically is just unseen, right? So it's unseen forces, unseen realities that affect real physics, which can be basically described as third dimension, physical, metaphysical, fourth dimension, a thought or something, and how that thought or how that fourth dimensional reality affects or causes the third dimensional to change, right? Because anytime that we want change in the third dimension, we want to not work in the world of effects, which means, if I think about a blueprint of a house, right? And then I visualize my dream house, and I do that every day for a year, and then finally law of attraction starts bringing collective components together, and that house starts being built. It's finally built. I want to change my dream house. I would change the blueprint in my mind of how I originally created it, rather than just go into my dream house, get a sledgehammer, and start smashing shit and hope that it turns into the new iteration of whatever I want, right? So anytime you get into metaphysics, you're basically inverting your reality. And when you invert your reality, what you're doing is you're understanding that the world outside of you is the world of effects, and the world inside of you is the world of causation. So the world of causation is your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, the patterns, the frequencies, the emanations of your beingness into the field of information. And the field of information is all patterns. So if you can change a pattern in the field, then you can change the manifestation, which manifestation just means something that is unseen becoming seen. So basically, like, if you turn your dial on a radio station, right, you basically change the frequency and a different song plays. So when you superimpose your power, what you're doing is you're putting your power on the most leveraged point of control that you have, which is your frequency, which is your output, right? So when you change your output, you're changing the channel, which has to reflect in that third dimensional physicalized world. So when you switch this, you're inverting your reality. And what's really cool about it is that you can basically enjoy the process of creating your reality wherever you are, right? You don't have to overextend yourself. And I use the term leverage a lot because if you think about leverage is basically, if I have 1,000-pound rock that I want to lift, right? I can go up to that rock. I can try to lift it. I can get all my buddies together. We can go and we can lift it. We can do it that way. Or I can get a pulley and I can hook up a pulley system to where I just pull a little lever or push a button on a motor, and then that thing lifts for me, right? So when you do leverage, it's not that it's zero work, it's just that your input of energy is disproportionately causative to the desired effect that you want, right? Because the leverage is proper. So the whole purpose of learning and understanding metaphysics, becoming a metaphysician, and understanding how you create your reality, or how you basically influence your reality through your thoughts, your perceptions, and your frequency, gives you a locus of control that 99.9999999% of people do not have, right? And there's phases to life, because life is a big game. There's a human game that we all play, and we signed up to play the game called human game. So phase one is you're totally dead fucking asleep. You don't know what the fuck you're doing, and you go through this whole situation and you create a bunch of fucking nonsense. So you create a bunch of dumb shit. You just create a bunch of limitation because you don't have any awareness that you create your own reality. So when you don't have any awareness that you create your own reality, you go through life blind, but you're still creating your reality, meaning that you're still basically creating at a level of unconsciousness, which means that you basically create a reality that is all built on knee-jerk reactions to shit, right? It's like your money problems get installed from your family, your health problems get installed from the people around you, and your focus is basically hijacked by all this bullshit and limitation because we want to create a game that is engrossing. And if you know that you have the power to create whatever you want from the beginning, there's really no hero's journey, right? So it's not that it's wrong. We do it to ourselves because if you think about going into a cool video game or an RPG or something like that, right? And they're like, if you use the fire spell, it will do 5 damage. Well, okay, well, take yourself outside of the video game. Is anybody getting damaged by the fire spell, or is it just you're engrossed in the game and you are suspending your belief that it's not real, and in the game you're worried about the fire wizard because if he gets you, your health is going to go down, right? Your health goes down, you die in the game, you wake up, game over, it wasn't real, but that was really fun playing that mission or whatever, right? That's what phase 1 is all about of life, is essentially going and creating all of these different conditions, all of these rules that really anchor you and make you feel that the game is super fucking real. Because when it's real, you're engaged and you suspend your disbelief. Like a good movie, right? You're engrossed in the movie, you leave the theater and you're like, fuck, I kind of want to stay in the movie theater because I felt so good inside. So when you understand that that was basically set up for your enjoyment, your engross, to engross you in the movie, you don't judge yourself as much because you're asleep, and ultimately you realize that you're creating it. And then what you want to do is basically start to, when you wake up, pull all of your power out of all of those limitations that you created for yourself. And the key to pulling power out of limitations is to understand that the real you is unlimited, right? The real you can think thoughts, get momentum, physicalize, has mastery over reality. But when you have all of these limitations, you want to understand really, really well that you created those limitations through unconsciousness, that they are not capital T truth, okay? So when you have something like financial constriction, when you have something like an unwanted appearance, when you have something like a negative emotion that tells you you can't do something, you want to understand that all that is, and it doesn't matter how it got there, is a little fucking piece of asteroid with a gold nugget in it, right? It's like this fucked up rock with a little bit of your power in it. And anytime you get next to it, it's got that bullshit because the coating around it is not real. It's limitation. It's not your true self. So it's repulsive in the nature that it constricts you. And being an unconstricted being, you see that and you're like, well, this is fucked up. This is wrong, whatever. But if you can just push yourself into it, feel it, and recall your power from it, you start to go through the phase 2 process of understanding that all of these limitations and all of these constraints and all of these beliefs are only as real as you allow them to be, and only as powerful as you believe them to be. And it's a mind fuck at first because you're like, holy shit, like what the fuck am I going to do with all these limitations? I can never be the person I want to be. But by that very utterance of that type of thought process or that type of thinking, everything is now, you're creating that through your frequency output. So it's really kind of a big red pill to swallow in the beginning. But once you start to live the life of like, oh man, all of these different things that I'm creating in terms of limitation, I have appreciation for them because I'm so fucking good at creating that I create all of this nonsense to make me think that I'm a limited human being. That's fucking insane, right? Like the ability to create an entire reality with multiple conditions of limitation that are so realistic and so engrossing that it makes me forget that I have power in my reality is truly an achievement. And once you start to frame it as an achievement and a mastery of your own element of perception and disillusionment, now you can have appreciation for how good you are at creating in terms of being able to trick yourself, and you're able to recall your power from those things, and you're able to divert those basically bits of power onto wanted ends of the spectrum of whatever you want to create. So I'm just rambling today, but today is the day that you got to start looking at limitations as basically your own creation. You got to laugh at them. You got to recall your power. You got to feel all the discomfort. And when you feel the discomfort, you just say, this shit isn't real. I created this. I recall my power now. I'm the creator of my reality. I am this person, whatever you want to be, you identify as, and then you think as if you are the person who has that now. And that will solve about 98% of things. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you want more one-on-one type of stuff, it's in the description. Other than that, keep conquering and have a killer day. Cheers.